XNET. So this one, as you guys remember, it's one of the stocks that I lost huge on in 2017 because I was bag holding the short. So obviously I'm scared of this ticker. So pre-market gap up on day 2. I was thinking that this is $6 is an important level. If it holds, then it's a long. If it breaks, then it's gonna flush. So pre-market, this is a very small scalp, just testing out waters, nothing big. And this long on XNET down here at support area, it's a very similar setup as the SEAS trade from a couple weeks ago. Long that support, looking for the bounce. Did I sell the best? No. I sold some here, and this is where I scaled in short, right? So it's a two small wins on here, but this is where the huge loss happens. So I actually started shorting here after I sold the long, the rest of the longs here. Started shorting, scaled in, and this is where I cut and covered for a loss. It's a pretty sizable loss. Another short loss again on XNET. And this is where I flip long to long the squeeze, the momentum up, trying to get 10 cents, 20 cents back. And long some, sold the majority, and unfortunately I added here stupidly, and sold the rest here. It's a very messy chart, I know. And this is why I flipped short, because I saw how quickly this level rejected. Yes, it pushed above the pre-market high, but rejected really quickly. That means there's some hidden sellers, there's big sellers there. That's why I scaled in back in short, scaled in short, paid myself some, scaled in short again, paid myself some. It's extremely messy, I know. At the end after all this chop, I scalped around long and short here, and this is a short, this is a long, cut a long here, midday long here, and there's some longs here and some shorts here. It's still a red, I'm still red on this name, so after all this chop. But I regained most of the losses on the front side here in the later part of the day. So definitely not the best executions, but I'm still happy that I recovered some of the losses instead of letting it balloon up like I did in 2017. But not a good trade on this though, just making that clear. The other one that's a little bit better is PCG. So PCG, it was on the weekend watch list I sent out that they had more news, is probably gonna sell gap down overnight over the weekend. The reason I loaned PCG here is because it held a key support area at 340s. And after its 340s hold, it has room to 420s. And that's the idea, right? Didn't get to sell at the open. I sold half of it here because this whip right here, I got scared. I sold half of it here and sold the rest here on this way up. And this is why I chased long, not a good long, and I got stuck on a hold. And after it on hold, I added some more. I was thinking this is going to continue pushing towards $5. After seeing a lot of selling coming in on the tape and a reversal coming in, this is where I sold my longs here and I flipped short, right? So another flipping buyers, you got to be able to do it when you're trading a momentum. Flip short, cover some here, and I was all out here. And this is where I took a break and came back midday to see that it was really weak, trading beneath VWAP. So with the mid-cap and large-cap stocks, if VWAP, I don't use it as a trigger to get in long or short, but I use it as a gauge for strength, right? This broke VWAP with high selling volume. Volume is my indicator that, there's a lot of selling, this is weak, this has the potential to sell back down to the support area that we talked about at 340s. Did it get there at the end of the day? No, it didn't, but I caught a piece of it right here. The fade at the end of the day. Shorted here, covered here, covered here. So nice trade on this one, much better than XNET and a lot cleaner as well. The other one, small win, was Roku for a scalp, 1 point. Breaking out on the daily chart, has tons of room up to 150s area. And that's why I got in long. As you can see, this range consolidation, that's why I took an entry here. Didn't get everything again because I was fighting XNET really hard, but caught a small 1 point. This will still be in play for tomorrow as well. So I'm happy about how I traded Roku and PCG, but I'm very disappointed at myself for XNET. I think it's because I'm just scared of this ticker. After losing huge on it in 2017, I'm scared. So tomorrow I'm gonna let it sit up. I think there will be a day 2 on this. We'll see what happens. Okay, so here are the tickers on watch today. I personally traded GRUB, BYND, XNET, and Roku and ISEE. So let's talk about it. Okay, so the first trade on the day was XNET. If you guys remember, yesterday I messed this up. The trades yesterday was super messy. It was both long and shorts, flipping in and out, and at the end, yesterday I ended, small red. But today, it's the opposite. Today it was extremely clean, shorted $5 after seeing that it gapped down. So when a small cap stock gapped down, you bet all the longs were underwater, right? So what are they going to do? They're going to try to break even on any squeeze towards a previous day close, right? This was already selling off $5 at pre-market. So that means $5 already failed, right? All the longs from $5 are bailing. So what are they going to do? When the stock pops to $5 again, you bet they're going to cut their losses at break even. So that's the whole idea behind, shorting this at $5 and potentially at 570s again. Shorted, adding to winners, cover into the washes. We don't want these. This is easy to borrow stock, so it can squeeze really easy. Like right here, you can see here. Shorted here, covered, re-shorted, covered a little bit just in case it starts reclaiming VWAP and do this kind of squeeze action, right? So when it flushed, I covered everything here. And when I covered here, I accidentally loaned some. So I just sold, whatever I accidentally loaned. In hindsight, I kind of wish I didn't. It would have been cool to sell it up here or sell it up there. But, when you are accidentally long or short, you just got to get out. Because that's not my plan, right? You always trade according to your plan. So I was not in this. I wish I was. But next one, this one didn't go anywhere. It was a break-even trade. I probably lost some commissions and locates. Shorted here, day 2, same setup as XNET shorted a previous day close, same idea, covered everything when I see it didn't flush down like I wanted to. And I shorted here at previous day close and covered everything when I see it start holding above VWAP, right? Because I'm thinking it's going to flush down. And when that didn't happen, I just have to cover. And you can see it squeezed, went red to green and squeezed everyone out to $2, higher than yesterday's highs. This stock is also easy to borrow. So don't want to outstay your welcome if you're short. Next one, GRUB. This one, I shorted and then longed. Shorted, I wasn't that confident in this short because I thought this was going to start consolidating and finally move higher because it's down like $58 down to $38 pre-market. Like I thought this was overdone, but apparently it just kept on tanking and I missed everything. This is really small size. I was just kind of testing waters and I got distracted by something else. I covered everything on the wash and went lower without me. But midday, after I came back from my lunch break, it's where I see, this good volume of buying coming back. It's trading in this range and breaking above this pivot line that Elisa, also in the same chat room as me, called out, these proprietary pivot lines. So when a large cap stock reclaims one pivot line, it tends to go to the next level up higher. So that's the thesis behind starting in small size long and adding to full size. When I see there's good volume, good buying volume, and it starts consolidating around this $34, and there's a potential to go to the upside. And I sold some here into the push, but I saw that it rejected VWAP really quickly, and the thinking was that it's going to start consolidating beneath VWAP and break above and go higher. But when that didn't happen, I just have to cut everything. Sold most here, and I cut the rest at break even. So protecting my profits. Gave back some on this cut, but that's okay. It's still green on this trade. You'll see I also trade a lot of these large caps during the middle of the day because small caps midday, it's just not my setup, right? These large caps, they have a lot of good follow through near the end of the day, especially, same setup as earlier on GRUB. Breaks below this pivot point, it has room to the downside, and that's what I traded here. And also this trade early on, really good buying volume, breaking out above this pivot line. That's why I added to full size. Paid myself some and paid myself some more on this breakout. I wish I was able to hold till $89 like up here, but sometimes when I'm trading a lot of tickers and it's working really well, I just take it all off. So yeah, that's the trades on the day. Another one, SES. This one, I wish I had done much better, right? It has room on the daily to go to 780s. And I told everyone in the room, somebody called it out. I told everyone has room. If you're long here at $7, you can long it to 780s. You can see I didn't even hold that long, and I wish I did. At the first sign of reversal, I sold everything. But in hindsight, of course, I want to work on, being maybe just scale out twice here and hold the last piece at, 780s or $8. So that's something I need to work on. Buying the bounce and scaling out on these low float, bounce plays on the daily chart. Okay, gonna do a really quick one today. GRUB. This one, I was looking for continuation on day 2. So yesterday I longed and shorted this one. Today I was actually looking for more fade to the downside. But it was extremely strong early on. You can see I was shorting here and covered, and then shorted here, and I covered everything here. This is a loss on the short. That's why I realized, hey, this thing is extremely strong. That's why I flipped long here and added to full size when I see that's breaking above previous day resistance, this level, and this level as well. And then I sold some just to take some profit and to make back the losses from before, and added even more, even bigger when I see that the volume is still robust, all the buying volume is still coming in really strong. It has tons of room to 36 level. So added to full size, sold some more, and sold the rest here. So nice little profit on the long, and after making back the losses on the short side. And near the end of the day, I was actually long. I was thinking that it's gonna reclaim VWAP and bounce back. But actually it was extremely weak. Like I was waiting, I was trying to be very patient. These are 3-minute charts. So I got in here, and I was looking for it to break and hold above this VWAP line and consolidate around 35.40s for me to add to full size long. But I realized it's extremely weak, right? Like it's like the volume is drying out, the buying volume is not as strong as in the morning, and extremely weak, kind of just chopping around beneath VWAP. And that's why I realized, hey, this thing can kind of fade near the end of the day, because the earnings from yesterday was horrible, right? So today, all of this momentum could have just been from a short squeeze. And when all the shorts are being squeezed out, there's no one else to buy. That's the thinking behind this, and you just gotta play the price action. So this is where I sold my initial starter long and flip short. And just to cover myself a little bit in case, my thesis is wrong, because I could always be wrong. And when it cracks this level, that's where I added into full size. And I was seeing selling starting to come in. As you can see, the volume picking up on the selling side, and started added to full size, short, covered some, just in case, because again, it's near the end of the day. I don't want to be left holding this short overnight. And when it starts to flush, that's when I start to cover. Covered here when I see there may be some support here, and covered some more because there's some more support here. So nice little trade to end the day. Another few, this one's actually break even, because I was trying to be very patient and let it ride, right? Long here, because on the daily, it's a huge bull flag and has a lot of room to the upside to 150 to 50s. So that's what I was thinking. I was hoping I would get there today. You can see I longed here on the dip, sold some just in case this breaks beneath, because SPY was chopping around. And I sold the majority up here. And the last little bit was only 1/8 size. I was trying to see if I can be that patient and hold it to 152s. I took a lunch break and came back, and it's kind of like breaking down, and I just took it off. So at the end, it's just a really, really small wing. It's nothing amazing. Oh, the other one that I totally messed up on was ISEE. So this was from the watch list this morning that I saw yesterday. I actually tried to short this thing yesterday and it just wouldn't break down. And it was in the recap video, it wouldn't break down, so I covered for break even down here. I was short here pre-market, and then short here on the top, and then covered here, break even, and wouldn't break down. And at the end of the day, yesterday it ran to $2. So that's why today it was on watch. And I totally missed this at the open. I was watching a few other stocks, missed all the ideal entry, and I knew I was chasing, so I was using like 1/10 size. And there was some pivot line on the daily chart around the 190s level. And that's why I sold some here. I was thinking, okay, if 190s break, I'm gonna add, or like I'll sell more at 3s. That was the plan. And I just got stopped out here. So of course my stop was too tight and I didn't add back and I missed everything up here. And it's Halloween and I am spending the night doing recap videos. Here's the glamorous life of a full-time day trader. Anyways, let's start doing some recap. Traded AGRX CANF and CRUS ISEE today. Some losses, some wins, and let's talk about it. So it sucks that I started the day red with AGRX. Right, AGRX was gapping up pre-market from a low of what, 37 cents the night before. To be honest, like I was actually bullish on this because they have high IO, high institutional ownership. It's also easy to borrow. And on the daily charts, it's breaking above an important area at 164. So that's why I was leaning in bullish actually if it can hold this level. As you can see, that's why I longed here at the dip, right? I was thinking, okay, if this holds, it can bounce higher to 190s and 210s. But actually that level failed pretty quickly. Like after this bounce, it just kind of slammed down. And that's why I cut my losses here. So this is a loss on the long. And at the market open, I was trying to see if it can retest this area. And if it breaks above it with volume, then that's a long. If it breaks beneath, like pops to this area and sell off, and that'll be a short. And it didn't even pop that high, it just starts dumping. And that's why I got in short. Again, this one is easy to borrow. Like when it's easy to borrow, you gotta be careful because, shorts can get squeezed. And when it squeezes to the upside, right? Shorted, covered some here into the wash just in case this bounces back really quickly and retest the highs. And then when it dips to $1, that's when I covered it all because $1 psychological mark. You can see it bounced off $1.03. So that's where I covered it all. And when I was trying to reshort this, I was thinking, okay, that was a pretty violent sell-off. It's probably going to bounce on shorts covering and tank back down to potentially, like 90 cents, 80 cents. But when it starts holding, when the bid starts stacking on the level 2, and when I see volume coming in, that's why I covered it all. So I gave back 2 cents, I think. And you can see it just kind of chopped around and sold off at the end of the day. So nice little recovery on the loss from pre-market. Next one is CANF. So CANF, I was pretty confident about the short pre-market. I actually scaled in short pre-market over here. So CANF, right? And the reason I scaled in short pre-market, covered some here and reshorted at the market open and kind of just covered along the ways like here, like some covers here, and I held the last bit of 1/8 size to all the way here. Didn't catch the bottom, but 234 was pretty good. And the reason I was so confident about the short is because this is a non-dilution chart, right? So many bag holders. You can see on October 17th, and again, September 10th, and this one, August, and they're all pretty recent. So when a stock gaps up on any pump PR news, what do you think these longs who are bagged are gonna do? They're gonna start dumping. So that's why, and this stock was hard to borrow. And if it's easy to borrow, then I'll be more cautious and not as confident. But this was hard to borrow. So that's why I was, confident enough to start shorting pre-market and then, shorted all the way down there. So this was a nice little short on the day. The next one is a loss, ISEE. So this one, I was trying to long the red to green move. Like I thought I was gonna do this, like it pops above the previous day close with really good buying volume. I thought it's gonna pop and dip back down to this red to green line and then like go higher, retest the 4s. But it just starts dumping. And I entered here, and when I cut my losses here, when I see that, hey, it's kind of like cracking beneath this important red to green line. So I lost about 10 cents here. But you have to plan your trades and trade your plan. Like this red to green move, in my opinion, was a good trade, even though I lost on it because I had a good plan, right? I didn't chase all the way up here. I waited for the dip, and this is where I know, hey, like if I have to cut my losses after it cracks beneath 352, I'd only risk 10 cents. But if I chased up here, I'd be risking like what, 30 cents? That's too much. So that's the loss on ISEE. Next one, CRUS earnings trade. So this is a large cap earnings trade. I love this kind of trades because a lot of times the technicals and the fundamentals, they line up. And that's where your bias and your plan are the strongest. So I missed all of this at the open because I was watching AGRX and CANF. And when I see it finally start dipping back to VWAP, that's why I got really excited. Because I want to long these strong stocks on dips, right? It's very simple. When a stock has good news and it's so strong on the day, you buy the dips. And I was so excited that my entries were pretty bad. So I added here thinking, oh, it's a really nice wash. You know, like it's probably going to pop above VWAP and consolidate and push higher. And it starts dumping again. That's why I added to full size. This is a starter size, added to full size. And you can see it's not a good add because it's still, like I didn't wait for confirmation, right? A confirmation on this kind of selling would have been when it starts holding here. That's when I added back. This is me cutting the ad over here. So I lost about 2 cents on this ad. So it's not terrible, but like the execution was not good. You know, I added back to full size after this loss. And you can see, like after I lost on this trade up here, that's when I took profit way too quick with my good entries, right? So I had about, after this ad, I had about 66.85 average. And I like took profit way too quick. Like this is what 20 cents profit and then 30 cents profit. You know, the target was like all the way up here and potentially higher, but I just sold way too quick. Because when your entries suck, I exit poorly. And so this is not a good trade, even though it was still small green on the day. Next one, Etsy. Same idea as CRUS, except it's the reverse, right? Really weak technical chart, and also fundamentally they missed big on earnings, and they guided down huge. Technically and fundamentally, it aligns to a short thesis. And this is where I missed this whole thing in the start of the day, and when I see it starts, you know, breaking beneath VWAP near the end of the day, that's where I want to short a stock that's weak and can potentially fade all the way down to the end of the day. Shorted to full size, missed this cover here, and that's why I covered some just in case it pops above VWAP like it did. Covered some, I wish I covered here, but covered some for like a tiny win, and added when I see that this VWAP pop was weak, right? And volume starts coming in, it's printing red, and there's lots of selling. That's when I added back to full size. And as you can see, I covered way too soon and faded off. But still, this is still a nice way to end the day, trading these large caps as well as the small caps. It's now Friday, and we're gonna start with the loser on the day first, as per usual. I was short CHFS way too early. You can see I was short pre-market, and I was short here, and then short here, and that added up to be about a quarter size. And I know I was shorting the front side, and I covered everything here. It's still a sizable loss. It doesn't matter whether it's a quarter size or full size. It's still a bad loss. You know, like I lost 40 cents a share. It definitely wasn't fun to start the day red on a Friday. But the reason I was leaning in short is because this is a known dilution company, right? I've traded this stock many times in the past before, but like a lot of times it's a mistake. I have to let fundamentals cloud my judgment in front of the technicals. So technically, it has a lot of room to push to the upsides, all the way to 2s. And after 2, it has room to 240s. And I definitely got in short way too early. That's because I know the company needs cash, are likely to do an offering. And I read it in the SEC filings and all the research. But it doesn't matter. Like when the price action is telling you the stock has room to run to the upside, I shouldn't have shorted that early. But the only good thing is that I know I'm shorting the front side and only allowed to use a quarter size. I'm gonna cut it really conservatively. So I covered all the short up here. And that's where I was waiting for a top to be set and for the stock to break beneath VWAP to look for potential re-entries. Right, so after it breaks here and I see this kind of selling volume, that's where I know, okay, so the top is now at 190 and there's definitely a lot of selling at 170s. So that's why I scaled in short here, as you can see. And this kind of scaled in short with small size as well to build the position. And this is holding up really well because when I scaled in short here, the idea was that it's gonna flush down like here, right? And then like back here. But it's holding up too well. That's why I trimmed some size just in case. You know, I trimmed a lot of size here and then it actually just like dumped after I trimmed my size. And then I added back here thinking that this is gonna flush all the way down to 120s. Nope, literally right after I added, it popped back up. And this is where I added again, right? So right here I have full size short on CHFS. And I cut it when it popped back up to 165. And literally, they top ticked me and then it dumped right after 165. So I have like a super tiny, like small short arm from 150s, like 110 size. I'm not gonna mess with this one anymore. So if it dumps at the end of the day, I'll have like a super tiny win. It's not gonna make back the losses from the morning and from this short, but you know, like it is what it is. So I think this will be a much easier play on Monday if it holds up all the way till Monday. But so this is the loss on the day. I also like try to long this thing too, because I don't know, I was trying to long the wash, but the price action wasn't right. So that's why I got out and I got out a small size and lost about 3 cents per share. So that was my attempt at longing this pig. But it's hard, like, because when you're short biased, it's very hard to switch to long, especially on a dilution stock that you know it's eventually gonna come back to $1. But you know, like these things, they can fly huge, like today in the morning before eventually dumping. So like I said, I still have a small short from 150, which is 1/10. So we'll let it play out through the end of the day and see what happens. And it's a sizable loss, unfortunately. The other ones, this one is a win. And you can see it's much cleaner than the CHFS short. And this one, pre-market has some pump PR coming in about another deal, which was really similar to the PR on this day, by the way. No, actually, was it this day or this day? But they also had a PR on one of these days, and the stock just popped and dumped hard, right? Because of all the bag holders on the daily chart. And it's the same idea. And that's why I didn't hesitate to scale in short. Shorter here. Pre-market volume is thin. I could only get up to a quarter size. And I covered at a wash. It was a nice trade. It doesn't make back all the losses from CHFS, but it made back a huge chunk. So that's good. And the other one, pins. They lost on earnings and gapped down overnight huge. It was trading at $25 the day before, and it gapped down to trading around $19 pre-market. Sorry, $19 pre-market, yeah. And it dumped at the open to, there's a support area around $18, 18.50s, and it held the $18 really well. And I wasn't here in the front side here because it was kind of just like chopping around. And the reason I drew this line is because this is the high of the day, right? Pre-market doesn't count. The high of the day is 1880s. And by 1880s, I mean 1980s. And if it can break this range to the upside, it has so much room to run, right? And so after 1980s, there's some resistance around the 2070 area. But I was scaling out along the way just because, you know, it's a Friday. I know this is gonna chop all day probably. I just gonna take small pieces along the way up. So I sold some here. So I only have a scale out in quarter sizes. Sold some here, sold some here, sold some here, and everything at 2070s. So this is another nice trade. So I hope everyone had a good week trading. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them as comments down below, and I'll get to every single one. Thank you and have a great weekend.